I built a personal chat interface, which I call Gloss. And there are a couple of features I want to add to this for my own personal use. But one key feature I want to talk about is threads. The idea of creating a sub conversation in a bigger conversation. For example, here I asked, I want to start a YouTube channel. What are 5 topics not really talked about? And it gives 5 topics, but then maybe there are specifics in the response that I want to explore. For example, it says something like amateur radio. I don't know what amateur radio means. Now I could copy this, go in the response and say, what did you mean by amateur radio? But the problem, or my problem, is that this would clutter the main thread. So instead of doing this, I can instead select amateur radio, and then I have create thread, and here I can ask, what do you mean by this? So with this, I can understand, okay, this is what you meant by amateur radio. Okay, and the main thread stays unaffected. I would really love if many AI chat interfaces had this feature. I currently use 2 major chat interfaces apart from my code editors. I use Claude and I use Perplexity. Now here I ask Claude, how do you use Cloudflare to spin up a URL port forwarding? And it gives me some step-by-step instruction. Now let's say I encountered an error on this line. The only way I can continue this conversation with this quoted text is to reply, and then we have the quoted text here, and I can say I got this error XYZ, and it walks me through how to fix that error. And maybe I don't have any other errors, so maybe I still have more errors. But what will happen here is that the main conversation is cluttered, and I would have to scroll and find my way back to this section where I can see, okay, this is where I stopped. Now I can continue with the remaining process. But I don't have to do that with my personal application called Gloss. So let's say I copy this and create a new chat and add this here. It gives me all of this, and let's say I get an error at this point. I can create the thread and I can say that the create command is not found. And in this thread here, I can fix that error and I can continue the remaining conversation. I don't have to clutter the main thread. So like I said, I use Claude. I also use Perplexity. And what Perplexity has is, let's say I ask a question like this: what's the point of Black Mirror episode 1 or season 1 episode 3? It gives me all of this. And let's say I have forgotten the character Fion. Now I can add to follow up, which I have done just before recording this video. I have Fion here and I can ask, who is Fion? But that would affect the main conversation, and this is a very specific question. So I can do the same. I copy this and create a new chat and add this. I can ask in the thread, who is Fion? Can't remember. And then it gives me a response of who Fion is, but it doesn't affect the main conversation. Now, one other AI chat interface that I was exploring was T3 Chat. T3 Chat doesn't really have the idea of threads, which I'm looking for, but it has the idea of branches, where here I ask what are 5 not well-known topics I can make a YouTube channel for. It gives me all of this. Now, before continuing the conversation, I can branch off at this point, which is what I did here. And branching off just means it gets the previous messages before that point of branching off as the context, and I can continue from there. So this, as the main conversation, is not cluttered, and I can have the sub conversations here. But I don't really like this idea of branch, or at least it doesn't fit my own case, because I have to branch off with this entire message. I just care about this specific line or this specific line. I don't want to branch off and start a separate conversation. So hopefully, if anybody is watching this video either from T3 Chat or from Perplexity or from Claude, please add this so that I don't have to use my own chat interface. Let me know if there are more features you would like me to add to an application like this. And by the way, I'm not going to be publishing this for people to download. We have enough AI chat interfaces already. However, I'm going to publish this on a repository, which will be linked in the YouTube description, and you can run this locally yourself and build on top or explore more things that you want to explore. This is my own way of building personal applications that helps my workflow, makes me efficient, or just improves my processing purposes. And I have done a couple of applications like this. I'll make a separate video talking about different desktop applications I've built for myself for specific cases. I think with the whole way we're going in the AI space, one of the big benefits will just be building applications that you need, and that is what I did with this application Gloss. So if you'd love to try it out, the instructions will be there in the video description, or let me know the things you'd like me to add. But until then, see you in my next video.